So Japan has a lot of terms that are considered unsearchable. You're not supposed to search them. They're bad, traumatizing, whatever, just don't search them. Today we're gonna look at some of the most infamous and well-known ones. This is episode 2 of this. If you haven't seen episode 1, here it is. Anyways, let's go! This one is actually a pretty well-known urban legend. But what isn't as well-known is the actual origin of this story. It predates the internet itself a bit and was conceived by a famous person in Japan. But in case you haven't heard it before, let's begin with the story itself. The story of the Red Crayon. A married couple who had just returned from their honeymoon decided to buy a house. The couple was very happy because they managed to get the house at a very cheap price. That's not something you can really say these days. It was in a nice neighborhood close to the city and just a short walk from a shopping center. One day, the husband was walking down the hall when he spotted a red crayon lying on the floor. The couple didn't have any children, so the husband wondered where the crayon had come from. Perhaps the previous residents left it behind, he said to himself as he casually threw it in the trash. The next day, the husband came home from work to find another red crayon lying in exactly the same spot. He was very puzzled and decided to ask his wife about it. The wife grew pale in the face. She had told him that every day since they first moved into the house, she had been finding red crayons while she was cleaning. They were always lying in the same spot, at the end of that hallway. The husband was sitting in the hallway, wondering about this weird phenomenon, when he began to notice something was not quite right. The hallway was too short. He tapped on the wall at the end of the hallway and heard a hollow sound. Curious, he began peeling off the wallpaper. Despite the protests of his wife, behind the wallpaper, they found a pair of sliding doors, as if someone had carefully hidden the entrance to a closet or small room. The husband discovered that the sliding doors had been nailed shut. He got a hammer from his toolbox and began prying out the nails, one by one. After pulling out the last nail, he slowly opened the sliding door to reveal a small hidden room. Looking inside, they saw the white walls of the little space were covered with words scribbled in red crayon. Over and over again were the words, "Mommy, I'm sorry. Let me out, Mommy. I'm sorry. Let me out, Mommy. I'm sorry. Let me out." The original author to the story is unknown. Well, at least that's what the Creepypasta wiki says, where an English version of the story is posted. But I'm here to tell you that that's not entirely true. If you saw my video on Spell, you may be familiar with Hikaru Ijuin. If not, you may still be familiar with them. They're a well-known radio and TV personality within Japan. They have been since the 80s. Ijuin was part of a television variety show in the 90s. It was called Yamada Kuniko no Shiawase ni Shite yo, or Make Kuniko Yamada Happy. Anyways, it was hosted by actress and comedian Kuniko Yamada, who kind of had a running gag stick thing about wanting to get married and becoming happy, I believe, according to what I read on the internet very briefly. Though having absolutely nothing to do with this was a portion of the show that told ghost stories. Now, Hikaru Ijuin is known to have a couple hobbies, video games being one, as he reviewed computer games for various publications for many years. Though, another big hobby of his is creating and telling ghost stories. Kinda in the same vein as Junji Inagawa, who's also famous for telling ghost stories, most famously the Living Doll story. I made a video on that too. And the very first televised retelling of the Red Crayon story was on an episode of Yamada Kuniko no Shiawase ni Shite yo. Ijuin had also told the story on his radio shows throughout the 90s and 2000s. While Ijuin is known for making the story popular, the origin of it still remains unclear. As the story began circulating at some point in the 80s, and it's unknown how much Ijuin had to do with the story's initial conception. The Red Crayon urban legend itself is considered something to never search. But it's also here because Googling the name will also bring up other creepy urban legends, as well as some very real reports of similar incidents. This is another topic under the famous denpa category. I don't really know what to expect after reading the Do Not Search wiki article on this, other than to keep my volume low. And that some of the tags are literally, "shut up," and this is terrible. So let's just figure it out as we go along, shall we?
君だって気になるだろう？で、彼女の名前は？
Okay, now I'm even more confused. Hang on. Okay, so this site is supposed to be a fan site for Anago-san, who is a side character in the anime Sazai-san, and kinda resembles an actual Anago, which is a saltwater eel. This specific character is a friend and co-worker to the dad in Sazai-san, and he has a wife and no kids, and is described as being a bit smarmy, as he's not a very good friend or husband, apparently. Oh, also his canonical age is 27. Everything I saw online regarding this character made sure to express that he is 27 years old. So yeah, what I found odd initially is that this character does not have a very big role in the anime at all. He's a very small side character. But upon further research, I had discovered that Anago-san is a very popular meme character. Just like how Waluigi and Hugh Neutron are worshipped online, but not in themselves very huge characters in the particular fandoms, or at least not meant to be big standout characters, you know? So in short, Anago-san in itself is considered a forbidden search term, and Googling that alone will bring up a bunch of memes, fan art, and most importantly, this infamous fan site, which has been up since 2003 and may even be responsible for what this meme has become. It may even be among the earliest examples of the internet influencing the popularity of a certain character just for the lulz. So now that we know the context, let's get back to exploring that site. So this woman in the background, she is Anago-san's wife. Also, the Wayback Machine didn't properly archive the Japanese text. That's unfortunately quite common for these old web pages. Luckily, the site is currently up. Okay, so all we were missing here was Anago-san and Anago-san no okusan, or Anago-san's wife, which is what that translates to. And while this looks like one big old hyperlink, it's not. Each and every individual Anago-san, which is over 200 if you're curious, is a different voice clip from the anime. And the wife ones are, of course, voice clips of Anago-san's wife. So it's a site dedicated to collecting every single voice line from Anago and his wife. The site did go down for a bit, but as I just mentioned, it's actually still up. And still being updated. Sazai-san is the longest running anime. Longer than One Piece, longer than Doraemon. It's pretty long, with 7,000 episodic segments since 1969. The updated version of the site now has links sorting Anago's lines per year, from 2007 up until 2023. Another new addition was a little disclaimer added to the top of the homepage, stating that there's nothing scary, no viruses, no scams, and no paid services anywhere on the site. This was added after the Anago memes took off. This search term involves a picture book written by a children's book author named Akihiro Fukube. Fukube has written a number of children's books over the years, but the most infamous by far is titled Ichinichi Omocha, written in 2009 and part of Fukube's Ichinichi picture book series, all featuring this boy illustrated by Fukube in different scenarios. Translating to Toy for a Day, this book has an innocent message in itself, and it has the boy imagining how it would be if he could transform into different toys that are loved and adored by many, in order to experience being these toys and being loved by them firsthand. And once we take a peek into the book itself, So yeah, the book itself isn't anything sinister, it's actually quite cute and imaginative. The uncanny art of the book, particularly the illustrations of the boy as a train and a castanet, have really freaked some people out. These illustrations took the Japanese internet by storm for a bit. The The Do Not Search Wiki, again, I don't recommend you look that up, even asks people to not show these illustrations to toddlers. Especially that castanet one. See, it's in bold. To my knowledge, the other Ichinichi books don't have the same uncanny drawings. And Akihiro Fukube writes children's books to this day, many of which being very cute and wholesome. Venus Fort, to those unfamiliar, was a really cool mall in Odaiba, which is a man-made island off the coast of Tokyo. Odaiba in general was pretty cool. Well, it's still pretty cool. There's just a lot of stuff that was recently closed there. That's no longer, making it cool, I guess. Though the Ferris wheel and Sega Joyopolis, they're still pretty cool. I've also had the best omurice ever in my life at Venus Fort, ironically. Getting so off topic though. My point is that Venus Fort was a pretty cool place. Nothing like the disturbing ads initially associated with them.
This photo is 1 year old. Ladies are very happy with delicious cake. To Venus photo by driving.
I am being completely serious when I say searching for these gave me the biggest jump scare. I was not expecting that thumbnail. Okay, so starting in 1999, commercials advertising Venus Fort aired on TV. The ones with the uncanny girls are not as infamous as the first commercials. No, actually, it's the ones with the chanting and those dudes, those first ones that people find cursed. They especially found them cursed back when they first aired, as many people had no idea what a Venus Fort was since it was, a brand new shopping center at that point. And this ad didn't exactly tell them much about what the heck a Venus Fort was even supposed to be. And curious about what you would even get when Googling Venus Fort around the, late 90s and early 2000s when these ads were still running, I Googled Venus Fort on the Wayback Machine. And the site was actually pretty to the point and nothing like the ads. They even did weddings here, apparently. Nothing says ideal wedding venue like this, does it? I should also add that there are a few videos on the original Venus Fort site that no longer play as well. These videos, whatever these videos are of, could also be completely lost. This is a pretty messed up sign that was once located in the Nakasengawa area of Mitaka, which is a suburb of Tokyo. It means to warn drivers and pedestrians of traffic safety, but took off online for how hard it goes with its message. I don't think I can show this whole sign on YouTube. I think you can get what's going on here, though, with, that part covered. The way the kid on the bike looks calm and unfazed while riding over this dude is what stands out the most to most people. Bro does not care. The text simply says dangerous, but is often misread because of the way the font looks and such. It's a lot to go into. But the sign was put up by the Nakasengawa Town Association, so just in case there was any doubt, the sign was near a children's park and was likely intended to make sure it got people's attention since so many kids played in that area. At some point, the sign was removed, though it's unclear when it was removed. This specific photo of the sign has a date from 1996, so the sign was likely up during the 90s and maybe into the early 2000s as well. Also, this kid right here became a bit of a meme in Japan, with fan art and various photo edits of them committing unspeakable atrocities being made. This search term refers to the inside of a rural train station, located in Inakadate, a village in Aomori Prefecture with a population of only 7,400. This station only sees trains from one line, that being the Konan line, operated by the private company Konan Railway, rather than the much bigger JR system. All of that said, this is a very small town in a very rural part of Japan. The station was first opened back in 1950, though in 1987 the station became unattended, with nobody working within the building. As the years went on, the station became in desperate need of remodeling. This was when the local authorities hired an artist known as Goma to give the space a complete overhaul. And while Goma was requested to only provide some framed portraits, the artist had instead convinced those in charge to do something a bit more extreme. Nowadays, the station's interior is filled with surreal and unique art, though not everyone is a fan. Many people, expecting a cute little old-fashioned rural station, were a bit taken aback by the visuals, particularly that massive eye on the ceiling. Some just find the art to be a bit too much for a calm and peaceful little area. Doesn't really go with the whole old-fashioned vibe, you know? In all my time researching this weird Japanese internet stuff, this one is by far the goofiest I have ever encountered. Regardless, though, this is it. It's an heirloom tomato. So, okay, why is this so forbidden? Like, there's an article on it in the Do Not Search Wiki. Yes, that is a thing. And no, I do not advise you to look at the Do Not Search Wiki. Please, seriously don't. Heirloom tomatoes are not as common in Japan as they are elsewhere in the world. I guess maybe kind of like how fruits like lychee and persimmons are fairly common in Japan and other Asian countries, but not widely sold and consumed outside of that neck of the woods. Because some people in Japan aren't familiar with heirloom tomatoes, they feel the inside, once these tomatoes are sliced, looks rather unpleasant and can trigger certain phobias. For that reason, some become squeamish when looking at them in this particular state. There are a few places in Japan that grow these tomatoes. A farm in Niigata began growing them a little over a decade ago. Around this time, some of the people who were freaked out by them spread false rumors about the tomatoes being exposed to radiation. Now, the pattern of these tomatoes is referred to as marbling, and the more complex the marbling, the more valuable the tomato is. Kinda like the marbling of a steak. This topic involves a Pikmin character and... Okay, I get it. And before you're like, oh what, everything in this game is cute, nothing in that game is so bad that it should be on here. Well, if you haven't played Pikmin, it's a very unforgiving game involving the cycle of life and death. And a lot of the characters in it, well, let me just say, they're pretty terrifying. So, I get it. So anyways, these characters are called amebozu in Japan, but they're known as water wraiths in the English versions. They were first introduced in Pikmin 2 on the Nintendo GameCube, and they often appear without warning, and they will find you. And it's not exactly clear on how you can deal with them, because they just keep coming and nothing stops them. The trauma from experiencing these guys in-game led this topic to be among the unsearchable. Alright, is this thing on? Yes, it is. Hello, everyone. Do you like my Christmas sweater? Maybe I can... And I got Christmas earrings. If you're at the end of this video, I'm assuming you like the video, so thank you. Anyways, this is the point in the video where I kinda just wrap things up and give out my Patreon shoutouts. Link to my Patreon's in the description. There's a lot of perks. I just uploaded a video on Saki Sanobashi. So if you're interested in that, it's over on Patreon. To say this month or lately, or this whole year even, has been really busy and stressful for me has been an understatement, so thank you for being patient with me on this video. If you like these Japanese internet topics, there's a lot of them, and I have a lot of plans to make more videos like discussing these weird niche things. It's a really fun rabbit hole to explore if you don't look at anything too traumatizing, I guess. Anyway, special thank you to Adam B, Raglan Strom, Black Taco 695, Rain Summer, Kyle Hockenberry, Solar Ellipsis, Spencer Lynn, Nomber, Josh Spears, Lauren Hoagland, Gio Woe, Aiden Sexton, J-Man, David Lawrence, Erland Knifelot, Connor McLaughlin, Jordan May, Shelfie, Stephen Bride, Creepy Leanie, Bill Baker, Gina Britton, Luke Brown, Pigpen, Layla Bloom, Jose Santana, Lizard Queen 27, Newt Newt Fruit Shoot, Hexamaniac Hana, Chitoge, Jeremiah BLR, 322-32232, Rora Morasso, Lena SD98, Hada, Meek, Sidnap, Hosea DeRoca, Akali, Red Hoodie 50, Iggs, Eels, C Chameleon, Digital Dubs, Shivam Vashi, Pan-Fried Life Jacket Awareness, VGM, Anedra J. Reese, Argua Bill, PP Tag, Andrew LaPena, Matt's House, Airfire, Grand Tactician, Soko, and Bishonen Knife. And also Christopher Valencia. Didn't catch that one during the first read, sorry about that. Also, welcome to Adam B, who I believe just subscribed. Really immaculate timing there. Anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.